Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by Grain Equipment Company, where innovation meets execution. I'm Dale Minyo. Looks like about 7/10 of an inch of rain in my rain gauge for the entire weekend, and we're at 65 degrees to kick off the week. Well, the purpose of the 2024 Ohio Wheat Performance Trials is to evaluate wheat varieties, blends, brands, and breeding lines for yield, grain quality, and other important performance characteristics. This information gives wheat producers comparative information for selecting the varieties best suited for their production system and market. Varieties differ in yield potential, winter hardiness, maturity, standability, disease, and insect resistance, and other agronomic characteristics. Selection should be based on performance from multiple test sites and years. Each entry was evaluated at 5 test sites using 4 replications per site in a randomized complete block design. Plots consisted of 7 rows, 7.5 inches apart, and 25 feet long. Participating companies specified the seeding rate used for each of their varieties. Test sites were planted within 2 weeks of the fly-free date. Approximately 30 pounds of nitrogen per acre was applied at planting, with 80 to 100 pounds of nitrogen per acre in early spring. Herbicides, insecticides, and fungicides were applied as needed. Soybean was the previous crop, and fields were minimally tilled at all locations. Yield is reported in bushels per acre at 13.5% moisture. Test weight is reported in pounds per bushel averaged across all locations. The test results for the 84 winter wheat variety evaluations in 2024 multi-year variety performance data, depending on variety and test site, yields varied between 55.8 and 106.3 bushels per acre, and test weights ranged from 56.5 to 60.6 pounds per bushel. Yield difference among the test sites were due primarily to the soil drainage, weather during the grain fill period, and harvest and disease level. Variety selection should be based on disease resistance, average yield across multiple sites and years, winter hardiness, test weight, and standability. See the complete story and all the charts and graphs about the yield and performance online at ohioagnet.com. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
We've got a couple of days of moisture here across Ohio. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that Ohio Ag weather update. Slow-moving weather system coming through. We started to see some action develop yesterday and last night. We see the bulk of this weather system work through the area today, but then we have this lingering long tail kind of scenario as we hit tomorrow and the weekend in general. The low-pressure area that's spawning all of this is going to slowly track across Michigan, and that's going to give us plenty of opportunities for wraparound backside moisture to rotate down in here as well. I think between now and Sunday night, we have to pencil in anywhere from 1/2 to 2 inches of rain across 100% of Ohio. Everybody gets rain at least on one occasion. Some of you will get it on multiple occasions and get the higher rain totals, so be aware it's going to be damp through the entire weekend. Now, as we get into next week, we look to be sunny and dry pretty much all week long, Monday through at least to Saturday. All precipitation wants to set up somewhere else. We are going to be warmer, so that gives us the potential for maybe some heat-based activity, but I don't think a lot at this point in time. It's just going to be a warm and dry week with the potential for it to extend into a warm and dry several weeks. The pattern looks like it could be very warm, very dry all the way through the end of August and into early September if it continues to develop the way we're seeing right now. Let's look at your forecast update. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Bayer Crop Protection Technology Development Rep Rod Stevenson is joining me on behalf of Channel Seed to share the latest research efforts by Bayer Crop Science to combat plant diseases like tar spot. What's the latest, Rod?
Bayer's research teams are working to better meet the agronomic needs of our customers. We are proud that our R&D pipeline investments leads the seed and crop protection industry by a 2-to-1 margin. The focus is breeding new products with enhanced genetic tolerance and developing innovative new crop protection products.
What progress are researchers making?
Our breeders are identifying new genetic combinations with tolerance to tar spot and other diseases by using precision breeding strategies. We expect the capabilities to reduce one breeding cycle from 6 years to 4 months. In recent advancements, we recreated tar spot and test plots to help develop our new corn products with improved tolerance.
Thanks, Rod. To learn more, visit channel.com. Always read and follow IRM where applicable, grain marketing, and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. Iowa has had only 13 herds affected by the H5N1 strain of the highly pathogenic avian influenza virus, but state officials are doing all they can to keep any further spread due to exhibitions. A dairy heifer relaxes in the cattle barn at the Iowa State Fair. Dairy barn numbers were down this year due to the need to test for avian influenza prior to transport and to protect herds at home. Some exhibitors at the Iowa State Fair changed from what they would normally take to the dairy show to protect their herds at home from any risk of influenza. Brandon Frank from DeWitt, Iowa, is the assistant herdsman of Lee Ann's Swiss, where they milk about 80 brown Swiss cows and have exhibited at the Iowa State Fair for many years. The Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship started a statewide order on July 1st to require all lactating dairy cows to test negative for highly pathogenic avian influenza within 7 days of moving to the exhibition. We want to strike a balance between allowing our 4-H, FFA, and dairy exhibitors the opportunity to show their animals while also requiring additional testing to protect our livestock and minimize the potential spread of the virus, said Iowa Secretary of Agriculture Mike Naig. As of August 15th, all the H5N1 cases in Iowa have been in northwest Iowa, while Frank said it hasn't been an issue in eastern Iowa, where their farm is. They also don't want to see problems. In eastern Iowa, it's been a non-issue. We haven't seen any cases, so none of the preventative stuff really applies to us in regard to spread within the herd. We are practicing biosecurity just like we always have, he said. Also, pointing to some of the struggling economies of the agriculture economy right now, the chief executive officer of Summit Carbon Solutions is making the case that capturing, shipping, and storing carbon will help boost farmers' bottom lines. The latest map by Summit Carbon Solutions on the overall footprint of its carbon dioxide pipeline that will sink carbon into a geological formation in North Dakota. The CEO of Summit Carbon Solutions said the pipeline and similar infrastructure are critical for ethanol markets and farm income going forward. Lee Blank, the CEO of Summit Carbon Solutions, gave ethanol producers at the American Coalition for Ethanol's annual meeting an update on his company's plans to build a 2,000-mile carbon dioxide pipeline. The pipeline's expected to capture carbon from 57 ethanol plants in Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, North Dakota, and South Dakota. Blank highlighted a chart showing the decline in U.S. corn exports over the past 2 decades as a percentage share of world total. South America is taking away our exports, and it's not going to change, Blank added. When you think about where the ag economy is heading, we have got to be proactive. We've got to play offense. We've got to move now, he said. Stay tuned. We'll turn to markets after this.
It's time to cut costs. Your Meristem dealer has the keys. Unlock the NPK you already own with new improved Excavator AMS powered by microbialized technology. Excavator AMS is the first and only all-in-one nutrient release and residue breakdown product with built-in nitrogen, surfactants, and water conditioner. Take cost out of your fertilizer and adjuvant spend now. Unlock nutrition faster with Excavator AMS. Learn more and find a dealer at meristemag.com. Always more bushels for less.
Did you know soybeans' #1 customer is animal agriculture? That includes Ohio's poultry farms. High-protein soy meal keeps poultry farms thriving. Nationally, Ohio ranks 2nd for egg production and 9th for turkey farming. Plus, Ohio produces 526 million pounds of chicken annually. Now that's a lot of birds, and that's a lot of soybeans. Soybeans, feeding the industry that feeds us. Brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Checkoff.
Let's take a quick look at the calendar. It looks like Tuesday, tomorrow, we'll get an update on the powerhouse of national leadership for commodity organizations and how they have helped Ohio producers in corn and wheat. On Wednesday, Nature's is proud to support community, and you can stop by and see us as we visit with them at the Allen County Fair, which runs the 16th through the 24th. And it looks like on Thursday, we'll be at the Seed Consultants Washington Courthouse location for their first or one of their many field days for the summer. You can get the complete list and schedule of those at seedconsultants.com. Time now for the Louis Dreyfus Grain Analysis, brought to you by the Ohio Soybean Council and your soybean checkoff. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished out last week with a turn to negative town again. As we take a look at the numbers on Friday, corn finishing about 4 to 5 lower. Beans were down double digits on Friday. Bean meal down, bean oil was up a bit. Wheat tried to carve its own niche out after being lower earlier. Did manage to finish 1 to 3 higher in Chicago, 1 to 3 higher in Kansas City, and 6 to 7 higher on the Minneapolis spring wheat. The corn and soybeans did form new contract lows on Friday. They tried to bounce out of there, but didn't really get much going on. In a positive news story, Ag Secretary Vilsack is pushing for U.S. row crops to be involved in the 45Z tax credits, but that's nothing new. That's been talked about for a little bit, and so far hasn't really gotten anything good to go with it. World ocean freights were looking to try and bottom late last week, but let's start with that contract low in corn and soybeans. Board of Trade corn selling was tied to old crop producer cash sales and the prospect of a record large U.S. yield. On the soybean side, record large yield was also a big story. Corn, it's 183 plus. Pro Farmer Crop Tour is on the road this week. Will they talk about even larger yields than that 183? USDA is seeking easier rules for crops to be used in green fuels in what is known as the 45Z Clean Fuel Credit that is expected to be announced by the U.S. Treasury in the coming weeks. The ruling will help decide what farmers need to do to qualify for crops to be under different carbon measures included in sustainable aviation fuel. Secretary Vilsack indicates that USDA is working on a flexible menu that farmers can choose from to make their crops more carbon friendly. And finally, that world ocean freight story. Those are trying to find their, quote, sea legs after falling for most of the past quarter on declining demand for iron ore. Some are suggesting that this bottoming in ocean freight values may signal that China is back in the game and starting to want to play. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Recapping Friday's closing figures in just new crop. December corn, $392.5, down 4.5. November soybeans, $957, down 11.5. And next July wheat, $5.89, up 3 1/4. Today's markets are brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Turn to the overnight. There's at least a little light at the end of the tunnel. September corn up 3 at 373.5. December new crop 394.5, up 2. Next March is $4.12 3/4, up 1 3/4. September beans trading up 4.5 at 943 1/4. November up 6 at $9.63, and next March is 9 at 97 1/4, up 5 1/4. The wheat not looking good overnight. September 526 down 4. July new crop down another penny 1/4 at 587 3/4. If you held that crop till next September, it's down 3, but at 597 1/2 cents. In livestock, August cattle, $182.80, down $1.25. October, $178.30, down $2.45. The October lean hog, $75.07, down $1.42. December, $67.22, down $1. February is $70.97, but down 77. September feeder cattle, $239.50, down $4.17. The October feeder cattle down $4.95, bringing it to $235.95. September Class 3 milk, $22.01, up a dime. October at $22.10 and up 6 cents. Don't forget, you can see lots of the latest ag news at ohioagnet.com. If you're traveling and you want to make sure you don't miss the midday program, you can subscribe to our text delivery. It's on our website right above the weather, and every day at 11 o'clock, you'll get the latest update of news, markets, and weather all directly to your text on your phone. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, everyone. I'm Dale Minyo. This is the Ohio AgNet.